Yeah, there was like a mild delay. There's like those when you call somewhere and there's like a call waiting response or voice, you may experience a brief delay.
Yeah, those
Like,
creepy fucking voices.
yeah.
You
may AI.
experience a brief
Oh,
delay.
sweet.
Whoa, do you hear that?
Yeah. So
that
I pulled up a YouTube clip of us. I should. Can you say something?
Hello. I will
Okay,
talk to you to see if the live has feedback.
I muted my laptop because it's going through the headphones right now, but the live is on. I just don't know why it's not showing up in the studio.
I don't know. It says live recording, so maybe it is.
Huh.
Huh.
Yeah, for everyone listening, I was trying to figure out why it wasn't coming up on the live in YouTube. This Riverside platform is really handy, but there are, everything has become a goal to limit the amount of steps it takes to get to where you're going.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the interface isn't as handy as you'd want it to be because there's fewer options to choose from because they're trying to simplify it anyway. It's weird that the YouTube live is going out, but I can't see it in our studio on YouTube.
I mean, it says live, but I don't know. How's your week?
Oh, hang on.
Oh.
Okay, now I got it. I accessed it through Riverside instead of going through YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
So, okay, so this live is rocking. Awesome. How was my week? Week was quiet. Got some paperwork done. My job is like really long term, so it's mostly just putting work together. So it's not super duper stressful. It is super duper boring a lot of the time. Despite all the learning I'm doing, it's like still pretty boring. Anyway, learning lots. How about you? How's your week?
That's good. Yeah. And my week's been it was colorful. Yeah. To know I realized on Friday, I was like, I think I'm going to survive this year driving the bus. I think I might.
You weren't sure though?
But if you asked me on Tuesday or Wednesday, I might have said I quit.
Oh, no way. Was that the day when you handed out like 17 citations?
4 student behavior report forms. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that sort of thing, And I think the principal at the school's tired of seeing me. She's like, "Hi." I'll talk to them. I'm like, I know. And like she's got to be busy as hell. This is just one of 7 buses. And I mean, not that all those buses are for her school. Like she's specifically middle school.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got quite a colorful array of students to deal with on a daily basis. So I sympathize with her a lot. I'm just like, wow, I could not do your job.
No.
Yeah, could not.
I feel like,
yeah.
Do you think it's different now than it was, say, 10 years ago?
I get the feeling it is. Yeah. I think
in a negative way.
I think there's a lot of like different behaviors that we're seeing. And like, I can't say as to what the source is ultimately of the different behaviors, but yeah, I remember being in one of the classes that was considered like wild in middle school, but we never did stuff like on a regular basis that these kids do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, because I feel like
throwing stuff at each other, throwing food at each other, like the amount of things that have been thrown on my bus, and like the language. I get that the language, I was probably not culprit, but like I definitely swore a lot, like when parents weren't around, right? Because you're like, oh, it's my way of identifying as an adult using adult language, right? And anywho, so I want to say I'm doing my best to like work with them so that the whole year isn't going to be wacko.
I mean, and that's it
Right.
too. It's not like a lot of people hearing this might believe that like draconian measures are the only answer, but you have to get along with these people because you see them every day. And if, otherwise, it's just like tension, and it's not good for anyone, you know.
Yeah, and some of the behavior has been making other students uncomfortable, and so, you know, I've got to make sure that everybody feels safe when they're using my method of transportation, right? So part of doing that is eliminating behaviors that make people feel uncomfortable or unsafe. So anyway, I don't want to like blab on about it, but I feel like it did consume a lot of like my mental space this week because I care.
And I think that's an important thing too to care about. You know what I mean? And it says a lot too because, you know, back when we were bus age students, I don't think our bus drivers gave nearly as much of a shit about us as people.
Sure. Yeah.
But I was wondering do you think there are fewer consequences, or the consequences aren't as harsh today? Because I know I wasn't the greatest student. I wasn't the greatest behavior kid, but I found out where the line was really quick. And I knew that if I crossed the line when I go home, it's going to be a lot worse than whatever the school's doing. So I know I behaved on the bus and stuff like that for those reasons. I'm wondering if...
So that's something that I wondered. Because I'm under the impression, and maybe assumption, like maybe impression isn't the right word. I think it's an assumption that the consequences at home are not more harsh for some people. I think there's some absenteeism on behalf of some students' parents, and like I don't want to judge, like I'm not in their shoes. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's not possible for them to be as attentive. You know what I mean? Like there's a plethora of situations.
We're just identifying scenarios. We're not passing
judgment. Yeah. But I think that kids are also a reflection of the behavior they see around them. And so if you watched your parents be very respectful to others and kind and things like that, like you tend to emulate or embody that as well. And again, like most of the kids on my bus, I'm like, they're really good kids. There's a couple that I would say that I'm like, I don't know how you're going to make it in life. And like, that was a conversation I had with them one afternoon because I had just left the parking lot and they were immediately like throwing things. And I pulled over the bus and I was like, we can't do this this can't be what the whole school year is like. You guys are going to be adults in a very short amount of time in the world, and this behavior is not acceptable at all. And I was like, you need to make positive choices and choose positive behavior. And like, I try and be so tactful in the way that I speak because they all have cell phones. So I don't know who could possibly be recording me. And like, I don't want to be a bus driver that goes viral on the internet, or a person that goes viral on the internet because they had like a verbal diarrhea to a bunch of of minors, right? So and
pieces of shit.
I'm hoping also that like by being respectful and using respectful language that will be mirrored back. So there's like a few things. I'm like, one, I want to protect myself. And two, you kind of have to. And yeah, it's like to the benefit, I think, of the whole functioning ecosystem of the
Right.
bus ride, right? And like it's a really short bus ride, in my opinion.
Thank God.
So
I mean, imagine it wasn't.
Yeah.
Imagine it was last year's route with these people.
Oh God, I think I would quit. Yeah. Apparently that bus route is now also longer
Oh, is it?
by like 20 minutes.
No one's doing that one.
Well, the guy who is doing it is, I think, well suited for the job. And like those kids were all like, I don't want to say really good kids. Like I don't know them all personally, but like you spend a couple hours with somebody every day. Like you're not, it's you know what we were talking about last week. It's kind of parallel play, right? Like they're there and you're doing your thing, and but you hear the goings on and whatever, and like those kids were all good kids. They just needed some corralling here and there to be reminded, like, oh yeah, that, like you were saying, you discover where the line is, and it's like we don't cross that line, right?
Fucking with the camera here.
About to go Blair Witch Project on us.
So
kids today, they won't know. They just won't know. But yeah,
were you a bus student or did you walk when you were a kid?
I was a bus. We were on a bus, like a school bus, until grade 6, and then in grades 7, 8, I started taking public transportation.
Oh.
Yeah, so they had a bus that was like more or less assigned to our school. Like anybody could still get on it, and sometimes they did. Like if they worked like near where our school was, some people would like get on, but there were very few stops. It was like all the stops were catered to students, but it was like the public bus that took us to school.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so I feel like
sorry.
Yeah, no. Think of like a city's transportation system. Like in this case, it was OC Transpo. So like a city bus driver was driving us around.
That's so funny.
So
it was just that bus's route, though. It wasn't specific for the school. You were just
it was specific to the school.
so interesting.
Yeah. But like it, because it was technically still like a lot of adults didn't take the bus because they were like, oh, that bus, the last stop is the school, and also full of kids. But like I think some people found it convenient maybe, and so they would hop on at the stops. And anyway, it's not like they couldn't get on because they weren't a student. Do you know what I mean?
Did you ever witness or see anything awesome or weird or interesting happen while you were on the bus? I'm just wondering, like, comparing your experience on the bus now to when you were a kid.
I think it made us like a lot more respectful of the busing system because we were put on public transit. Like there was still it was probably more loud. Like the volume was probably more loud, but like behavior wise, there weren't people getting up and running around. You know, there was a lot, I would say, like a very good level of respect for the drivers,
which is awesome.
Yeah. And then in high school I took like proper public transit to school, so because I decided to go to a high school across town, so it was up to me to show up every day.
Yeah.
If I wanted to continue to attend. So
I made my bed. I had to. Yeah, I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was on a bus for a while too, and I feel like there was enough stuff, but nothing crazy. Like, I think it was just the usual, like the bus driver yelling over his shoulder, "Sit down." You know what I mean? All
were there many routes?
You know, I only remember the one bus route that we took, or the one bus that we had to take, and we didn't take it for very long either. But I feel like it was the exact same route every time.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if that was your question, but there are a ton of bus routes in the area to pick up all the kids and stuff, but the route itself never really changed.
I see. Yeah, I kind of wondered if there were, like, if it was a big school, like if you guys had a lot of bus kids, or if like a lot of people walked. Like, was that an option?
Yeah, like we walked after a while. A lot of people walked, and then especially in the high school, the only people that really took the bus were people who couldn't walk and couldn't drive themselves, or weren't driven by their parents, so they would have to bus in like peasants. But.
Yeah, I was shocked at the amount of like, in this town overall, there's a lot of like students that get picked up. I feel like it's like a big pick up your kids from school culture. And maybe that's part of like what's different about schools now. I don't know, but
I agree.
yeah, I think there's a lot more kids that get driven to and from school. Like that was not even that was not possible. My mom was like, you have to get yourself to school. Like, that's on you. So, and you have to go, so figure it out, kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, who got driven to school and why.
Right. I could see if kids are in extracurriculars and things like that, so like outside of regular hours, that
makes sense.
Like pickups at the end of the day would be happening, but that wouldn't even be at the end of the day. Like, if it was outside of the school geographically, then yes, but yeah, I don't know.
The times, they are changing.
Yeah, there's and I mean, I'd love to hear people's feedback from wherever they are, if that's something they've noticed. Like, is this just the new, like, is this part of being a parent now? Is that there's a lot more parents who feel, or who even have the ability to drive their kids to and from school? Yeah. I wonder what the factors are that contribute to your bus kid versus a pickup.
I feel like COVID really just changed everything.
So much.
I think more people are getting driven places because of that.
That's true.
The norm now. And I mean, this just occurred to me too, but like William and Olivia, who are in senior kindergarten in grade 2, they're too close to the school to be bused, but it's easily a half an hour walk for the kids.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to drive them.
Yeah.
I just thought of that one.
That's tricky. You guys must be right on the cutoff, no?
I'm sure we're close, but it's just one of those.
Half an hour seems impressive.
I don't even understand either, because there's city bus stops in our neighborhood. It would make sense for a bus to take an extra 10 minutes and hit 3 more stops. But I don't know if there's actually any school buses in our. When we see a school bus drive down the front of our house, we're kind of curious. What are you doing here, kind of thing.
Right. Where are you from? Where are you going? Could you stop here and take my kids to school? Yeah.
You're
so many
new
questions
around here.
Well, I was gonna lead into something, now I've totally lost it. Oh, parenting today, how it's different. Yes. So there's a woman whose TikTok page, who posted a video, and she was asking parents for their like catchy one-liners that they use that are effective. So there were a bunch of ones that people shared that they heard growing up that are not appropriate, just for like comic relief, and that made me laugh. But I was going to share some of them because I think it was a really valuable video to post, because you don't realize, like, there's a lot of what parenting I think is today that's maybe we explain a lot more to our kids, or I feel like I do. I try and like have the conversations and say the things, and there's a lot more dialogue back and forth that happens. And so sometimes you're trying to teach them something effectively, and going on a long tangent and like writing a short form essay for them is just not gonna work.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at it now. I wrote down so many. I don't know if I should share them all.
You should
But
share a bunch anyway.
I'll share a few, and then maybe I can catch you guys up with more next time. So the first one I heard was every family has different rules. And that is not something I recall hearing growing up, but maybe I didn't push the boundaries enough for my mom to be like, you got to lay down the law here. But I think that's an important one, because you get that question a lot from your kids. Oh, well, how come so-and-so is allowed to do this or do that? And so like easy one-liner, every family has different rules. If we want to come back, we have to leave nice. So I don't think this is necessarily just behavior. I think
like
behavior is a part of it. Like if you're leaving and having a tantrum because you don't want to leave, like, you know, I do make an effort in the acknowledgement department. So I'll be like, oh, you're having such a good time, you don't want to go, right? And it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to go. But then, you know, leave nice, like clean up after yourself. I think that's a big one. I feel like I do try and do that when I like, certainly when we visit you guys or when we visit other people, or public places too. I feel like I don't want to say we forget. I know I've at times gone to like play groups and stuff, and we're not there for like their cleanup period, but I'm like, we should kind of tidy up what we've been using so that other kids can access it too. And I think that's part of it. I think it's like behavior and like actions. We don't comment on other people's bodies. And this also ties into another one that I heard that was like, hang on. If they can't change it in 5 minutes or less, don't say anything. So if somebody's shoes are untied, you can be like, hey, tie your shoes. Because they can change that in 5 minutes or less. But their hair color may be not something they can change. Typically,
feel like 5 minutes is still too long.
It's a long time. Yeah.
Like,
but
don't
I'm thinking,
tell me
like,
something that's going to take me 5 minutes to do, because that is just way too long.
Too many.
To commit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'd rather live the rest of my day.
Yeah.
Like, with whatever fault that is. But like, if I can fix it in 10 seconds, sure.
Yeah.
But if it's going to take me 5 minutes and I'm I don't even have to be in the middle of anything. Just don't fucking...
I wondered if it was 5 minutes, like, for a JK student who might take 5 minutes to put their shoes on or change clothes or something. You know what I mean?
It's like
pick a different
William
hat.
to get dressed every fucking day. It's like he's making the clothes.
Yeah, they might as well.
Honestly.
Same commitment of time. So yeah, we don't comment on other people's bodies. I think that's a big one, and probably not so much a factor with kids our age, but I am seeing it a lot, like with older kids who call each other fat shaming each other.
You just said.
Oh, did it cut out?
No, the first part though. I heard everything after that. What was the first
thing?
I
said it doesn't really apply so much to us because our kids are younger. I feel like they don't really make I haven't noticed kids making comments on each other's bodies.
Yeah.
Maybe questions like, oh, how come your hair looks like that? Or how come your nails are painted? Stuff like that, right?
Nice sidestep.
Yeah.
How come what else could be a different color? Nails.
I actually, I don't want to say we did run into that, but like kids will ask Anson why his nails are painted. Like we do his nails in like funky masculine colors.
Well, those
Not right.
true at all. They're just funky colors.
They are funky colors, but yeah, people will be like, "Why are your nails painted?" He's like, "I wanted to. I don't know." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Anyway, don't yuck someone else's yum. I liked that one.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it's like it's a bit catchy.
Mama.
Yeah, mama. But like if somebody else is having a great time, like don't be. I can't remember what they call it.
You know what? Like William does this all the time.
Oh,
like Olivia
okay.
will say something because she's
Be
just
excited.
a happy person. Hey, whatever. She says it, and then William's like, "That's not true."
Yeah.
That's
So
wrong.
you could
It's
use
this.
that.
He just goes on and on and on. Yeah, I'm going to use that. Don't yuck someone's yum.
Yeah.
You're being a shithead. Because I can't keep calling him a dick. It's going to start being a problem.
Right, because then he'll run around and call other people dicks. That's
Well,
cool.
or he'll like internalize this and it'll become,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
I suppose
I shouldn't be calling my son a dick.
Be kind. Use kind words. As my mom always said this, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything.
Well,
and
I've said this to William, but he'll say, I didn't say anything mean. I'm like, no, man, but there's a fucking serious edge to your tone, okay?
Right.
Like, she can understand that you're trying to be mean.
The words weren't mean, but the delivery was.
It's like, oh, that's a nice sweater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, I think this will work for this situation you're discussing, because, like,
oh, I've said this.
It's an essence, right? Like, his response is creating a feeling, as opposed to his words being cutting, right?
Yeah, and I realize what you're saying now too. It's so true. Fucking, he's yucking all over everyone's yums.
Yucking. He's yucking. Don't yuck, or don't be yucky. You could say that. Asked and answered. This is a good one. Instead of no, when they ask you 700 times the same question, oh, please, can I please have that? Asked and answered, which apparently is also a legal term that means something completely different. And this was just hearsay in the comments, but I liked that one because it elaborates a little bit more on the no, because it's easy to retort to no, but asked and answered. I like that one. You don't have to. Sorry, go on.
We heard that one just this year for the first time. Olivia's friend Harriet, her mom, said that one to her daughter while she was beside us, and I was like, I'm storing that one away. Because you're right, it limits what they can do back. Because if you say no, they can fight that block.
Mm-hmm.
But if you say asked and answered, they're like, oh, I don't know what else to say.
Ask a different question might become the thing, but anyways, it will encourage them to become creative thinkers, perhaps, as well.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be friends with everyone, but you have to be friendly.
Yeah,
and I would say that
a lot.
Do you? This is and like, what kind of situations have you found yourself using that in?
Well, like it's kind of, it's mostly just with children.
Okay.
But the idea to them, and it's self-explanatory, like, you don't have to like them. You don't have to enjoy being around them. But if you're going to be, again, I hate to fall back to bad habits, but don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Like, just don't do those things that you're thinking of doing, and don't say those things, and you'll be okay. Yeah.
Have you seen it, like, in friend groups with your kids, or is it between each other, or both?
Mostly between each other. I found them to be really good with their other friends, and it's the weirdest thing. We hear nothing but good praise when our kids come back from birthday parties and shit like that.
Of course.
They're just being fantastic, which is awesome to hear. But yeah, mostly just with each other. They very rarely have interpersonal problems with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's. I don't know why. That's interesting.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Maybe
No, I
don't
just feel like
overanalyze.
it's had to have happened. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Sure. I wonder if we're equipping our kids with the tools to minimize conflict as
how
well.
like us to not be able to take credit for our own efforts to date.
Truly. Is that a good choice for your body? So instead of like, watch out, be careful, stuff like that, like it's a little bit. And this came from a parent who felt that it applied over a long period of time. So like once they got older, the meaning of is that a good choice for your body changes. So like if they get into substances or whatever, if they get a boyfriend or girlfriend, like that question suddenly takes on a new life.
So I was watching this show on Netflix called Swamp Kings.
Swamp Kings. Okay.
Kings. Yeah, it's about the Florida Gators, the University of Florida, or Florida University. I don't know what it's called. Their college football team.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess this team is really good football team, great history, and they're in the
I think is it Florida State?
No. Because like there's state universities.
Oh,
like there's
I
Michigan
see.
University and Michigan State University.
Oh, gotcha.
And you'd probably get your ass kicked if you said that at a Michigan game. But anyway,
I just learned the difference. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
We no, I'm saying it's nothing we would understand. It's just in the States. Do you know what I mean? They do things differently.
Yeah.
And so it's like a 4-episode little documentary on Florida Gators team, and it was the years that Tim Tebow went to school there, so he was the quarterback for that team.
Oh shit.
And it was just a behind the scenes sort of, they went on a run, they won 2 national titles, like it's in a row, I think. And the coach did a phenomenal job, and he worked them like dogs and everything. But what was really funny was one of the guys who's coming back, and he's on the show, and he's talking about coach stops me in the hallways, and he's like, "Hey, Brennan, you living right?" And I'm
living
like,
right.
and he was dodging it. He comes back, and he goes, "I finally said, no, coach, I'm in college. I'm 19 years old. No, I'm not living right." It's when you said, what's good for your body. It depends on how you're framing your experience and what good is to you. Because one thing that I struggle with the most is the fight that we're going to fight is trying to have our children understand, or trying to have anyone that's in our lives that we're trying to communicate important things to, when they don't understand or don't appreciate what a long-term objective is. Because when you say, is this good for your body, in my mind, the spirit of the message is that, anything that's not good for your body, kind of more morbid.
I see. So like,
but you're doing it for long-term benefits, not because if I'm like, hey, is that Baconator good for my body? Well, it's going to make me feel real fucking good.
I see.
When I eat it, but I know it's not good for my body. So.
I see. I think this was less a question of like dietary choices or consumption. I think it was more like an activity thing, like when they're little and they're climbing on the play structure and they're doing wild stuff that like that they're not ready to maybe do, or if you see them fumbling, or they're tired and you're like, hey buddy, is that a good choice for your body? Because I feel like be careful is like a big blanket,
it's like a
question.
lazy thing too.
Yeah,
just be careful. I told him. I said it. It's not my fault.
Exactly. Yeah. So instead, using something a little bit more specific, and I'm sure there's other, varieties of that same sort of question, but yeah, like
Jordan
where
Peterson.
are you putting your leg, or what are you doing with your arm, and what are you thinking about? Like try and dig a little bit into, make them question what they're doing a little bit, so that they're being more critical thinkers.
Process consequences, almost. Yeah.
It's hard for some like really young kids, but I think once they're over like 5 or 6, it starts becoming a little bit more reality maybe sets in, and they've hurt themselves a few times, so there is a bit of like practice in the theory. So you're going to say Jordan Peterson?
Yeah, controversial as he is, one of
Yes.
his in his book 12 Rules for Life,
Yes.
one of them was let your kids do dangerous things safely, I think.
Okay.
I don't think I have the book, but the idea was it kind of goes hand in hand with what you're saying, like, is this good for my body kind of thing, because it gives them a second to pause and think about what they're about to do, and either decide it's not good for my body, I'm not going to do it, or I've taken the necessary precautions. I'm thinking about all the bike ramps we built when we were kids, and no one asked us if that was good for our bodies.
No.
Oh man.
So what are you guys doing over here? Yeah.
I'm picturing that one that voice that's floating around. So what are you guys doing around here? Just taking your bikes off a whip? Look pretty tall. That's pretty unsafe. Two nails and a 2x4 and a plywood. I just I feel like that's really, really funny.
You can relate.
But yeah, I like the idea of letting kids, because body awareness is something you can only learn. Like, you don't realize that it might hurt when you land on your arm and break your collarbone because you don't understand physics or whatever. I don't know.
Breaking bones.
But yeah, doing things, and it just makes them. I think it would make children more confident, more comfortable, A, in their bodies, and B, making their own decisions. I don't think decision making was like huge
at the top
like,
of the
millennial training package. It was
it was.
What we were the ball in the pinball machine, and we were just trying to live our life, and we would just get battered whichever direction was the right one to go, whichever way we were told to go. I feel like that's pretty accurate.
Go this way, and like kind of in a harsh, abrasive way, a little bit.
Yeah. And then occasionally you would do something right, like you get in between like the 3 bumpers and go and just get all the points. But that almost never happens, and it's almost swiftly followed by losing your ball down the center.
Yeah, so rare.
Which is probably a metaphor for like generational trauma. I don't know. Is that too far?
No, I think you could. Far? I think you could definitely.
Yeah, victory.
That's a term that maybe, and I could be wrong because there's no research to back this, but I think we use that term the most. Breaking the cycle of generational trauma. I feel like
you
that's
mean
like
millennials.
Millennials, yeah, we use like that term is just like that might as well be millennials breaking the cycle of generational trauma. Like, as
and you know what the best part is literally no one outside of millennials gives a fuck. Like, we think we're like as a generation trailblazers. Yeah, we're breaking.
We're doing so much.
We're doing all these great things. Everyone else just doesn't care. Like,
no.
Gen Zs are just in their own world. They can't even see anything else. And Gen Alphas are like, oh my god. I'm worried that Gen Alphas are going to be the worst generation.
They're supposed to be the ones that are going to change the world. That's what we keep hearing.
I'm not seeing good green flags about that.
I know. Like, they're supposed to be the ones that have been quote unquote gentle parented, that have been like raised in a way that is a lot more thoughtful and curated, and spend more time with their family, spend more time with their parents, like all that stuff, that all the things that we're told that we should be doing more of. And it's kind of like, does it make a difference? You know what I mean? Like, what's the right and wrong thing? And Yeah, I think
And
there's
that's so
still a lot
interesting.
of, it's an ever evolving thing. And yeah, generations will look back perhaps and be like, you guys really messed up.
Well, I wonder if it's, you
Should
know,
have just gone
we're
back
thinking,
to beating your kids, you dummies.
yeah, because I wonder what
I
success
don't
looks
actually
like.
believe that, just sidebar.
And I wonder if the outcome is less geared towards, you know, they succeed in terms of common metrics like, you know,
Yeah.
married, house, job,
Oh
cars,
gosh, yeah.
401k
The
or
checklist.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they'll be the greatest generation, because you know, I look back to sort of like the Industrial Revolution up towards like uh you know, Henry Ford and the 5-day work week kind of thing.
Yes, yeah.
Like since then, every aspect of sort of human existence has been pretty cookie cutter, pretty well
Mm-hmm.
templated. The path was
Mm-hmm.
pretty common, and every generation sort of has their revolution, their little rebellious group, but nothing really changes. So I'm
But
thinking about,
now
yeah, and
the
I'm looking at,
landscape is so different.
and then maybe that's what their change is going to be. They're going to show that you can be successful and you don't have to work 9 to 5. You can work remotely, and you can, like, I think about, you know, professional conversations in the workplace
Mm-hmm.
that we would never have considered because we just are waiting to be told what to do. And then
Okay.
we'll go do it with the zeal of someone whose life depends on it.
Right.
Whereas like a Gen Z or Gen Alpha, they're going to be told what to do, but they also don't have the same inhibition. So if it sounds dumb, they're immediately going to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
If they think there's a better way to do it, they're going to, because they're not worried about what other people think about them. Like, you want
Mm-hmm.
me to work here, I'll work here. If you don't want me to work here, I'll go take this somewhere else. But
Yeah.
it'd be nice
I
if,
think the opportunities that they have are so different. I feel like we came in, like a lot of us, our early career started right before the 2008
like, recession or whatever.
recession.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the market crash, there was a recession, blah blah blah. A lot of us were fighting to get our first jobs, and like there just wasn't, like, people were getting laid off left, right, and center, and it was like a very scarce time. And I think that imprinted on people that are in our age group, because I think we still have that. Like, we're still like, oh no, we have to do everything exactly the right way and like exactly how we were taught and whatnot. Because if we don't, then we don't have work.
We'll add to that,
Yeah.
every single one of us in the, like, in that group that you're talking about,
Yeah.
I'm sure 90% of that group, their parents treated money like it was a problem. In the
Always.
sense that,
Yeah.
like, you know, like,
Absolutely.
money's hard to come by. There's not a lot of it. Whenever we spend it, we got to be careful. And I'm just
You
thinking,
never
like,
have enough. Never.
well, that's it. Like you
Never.
said, scarcity, and
Yeah.
that's what made me think. Like, we were programmed to believe that money's hard to get and it's hard to keep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is still applicable. I just think that our mentality surrounding careers and job performance and how we behave at our workplaces is based on that feeling of, this could be it, you know? If I
Yeah.
like, this could be the end if I don't do well, kind of thing.
It's such a weird place to put yourself, and I feel like I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying, because
Yeah.
I always think of, you know, the fork in the road when you come to a decision that you have to make, and
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, you know the decision you're going to make, and that 1 out of 10, that 10%, you're like, oh man, I wonder if I, you know, usually it's something
But
crazy
what if
that you would never do, like quitting a job or punching someone in the face or just standing up for yourself in a very, you know what I mean? And we're
Yeah.
afraid of the consequences of what life after that decision looks like. And it's hard, I think. It's hard to believe that you could live successfully in a life post that decision.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I really think that it's not the case. I think generally people who want to find success can and will find success. And making those decisions should be based off of what you want or what's aligned with your goals more than anything, especially more than what other people think you should do or expect you to do.
For sure. And I think to like add to that, we, like you said, there was a cookie cutter kind of template leading up into millennials joining the workplace, and then Gen Z was kind of like coming up into the workplace, and I feel like things changed from the perspective of we don't have to do it this way just because we've done it this way for so long.
100%.
And it was people in the millennial generation, in the Gen Z, following us. I shouldn't say following us, like after, chronologically after us, that started to take maybe risks and do things that weren't cookie cutter, that weren't in the quote unquote template. That's still very new, right? Like that's still like a very new thing that has happened with the world. And now there will be Gen Alpha and a number of a very few short years that I think is gonna like continue to propel that thought and the possibilities and the ability to do what is not the norm, if you will.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to see what the landscape looks like on the other side of that kind of lifestyle, that kind of living, those kinds of decision-making abilities.
Yeah.
And it'll
a
be
real big transition.
Because like I look at, everything that's an institution, all these companies, governments, whatever, like they've all got their old guard, the people that used to do the job and they've retired or they sit on boards or whatever.
Yeah, we're right at the cusp of like that changing so much.
And I can't wait because all of those people, I would argue, are responsible for so many of the problems.
The ills. Yeah.
Because we try to change and evolve and take things in a different direction. And oftentimes these decisions are governed by boards, and the people on these boards won't agree because
they don't want
that's
change.
not the way they do business. And so our generation, we're going to be those people when these Gen Zs and Gen Alphas are apparently making the world a better place. So it'd be interesting to see if, I look at people in the workplace who are really fun to work with, and then they get the big job, you know what I mean? They're the boss now, and they've changed.
They changed.
And oftentimes I think it's just the reflection of them trying to meet the demands of the job that need to be met, and also be as true to themselves as possible. So I generally give that to them, but I wonder if we're going to be the people, who like to criticize the older generations for ruining our lives and our opportunities. And
I think we may already be there.
But are we going to be the ones that are going to be, when these great ideas come forward and these new ways of handling business come forward, are our peers on these boards and running these companies going to be the same? Are they going to change?
Are you saying when we become the people, the old people,
the old guard?
Yeah, the old
guard. Are we going to steer the ship in the direction that we want it to go, or are we going to let these people steer the ship in the direction it should go?
That is a really good question. And it's one that is referenced to a lot in a lot of the podcasts I listen to. Like comedians, I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts, and in those podcasts, they talk a lot about how specifically Comedy Central used to be the big decision maker for all things comedy. Like they owned the rights to all the shows. They if you wanted to get on TV or whatever, like you had to go through them, more or less. Like I'm highly paraphrasing this whole experience, but now a perfect example is that landscape has changed 1,000%. So many people have their own platforms, they have their own shows, they just publish stuff on YouTube. Like a lot of comedians have been publishing their specials on YouTube, or another like affiliates oh my gosh, what is it called? Like production studio or whatever. And then also the streaming services that exist, like Netflix, Prime, all the big ones, right? Crave. There's a ton of options for people to do comedy specials on those, or even TV shows, things like that. So a lot of I feel like it would have been like a real pyramid before, where all like the power was on top and there were very few people making big decisions for the trickle down effect. Whereas now I see it a lot more being like a square, where it's like all these different mazes and paths, and like there's a ton of options up at the top for like who's the decision makers now, and like there's some off to the side and whatever. Like it's way less centralized, if you will, in that aspect. And I think that applies to many careers and like many workplaces and that sort of thing. In some instances it's unavoidable, and I don't think they can change the hierarchy, so to speak, but with the influence of everything else changing, like maybe that will too. Who knows, right? Like I'm thinking in the military specifically, like you guys have like a literal hierarchy of like people's positions and what their roles are and things like that. Like I don't see something like that necessarily changing, because it doesn't have to, but in other industries
I think, like, hierarchy aside, because every organization needs some sort of structure.
Yes.
Just to process the work, like anything else aside, just to process the work. And I think it would be just how relationships at work are handled. I think it'll become a lot less formal. I think it'll become much more collaborative.
Interesting.
And I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to know, but I would hope that would also provide better work, because the people will be less egotistical. It's less about getting noticed and getting credit, and more about like the team is doing well, so we all do well, kind of thing.
I
don't know, it's hard. That's what she said.
I like that idea. I like the idea of the collaborative aspect coming into play a lot more. I feel like in lieu of just having like we'll say perhaps a singular decision maker, like board of trustees will be a lot more of like a thing, maybe. Maybe they already are. I'm just not in them.
And like, especially at the lower levels where you got small teams run by supervisors and managers and stuff like that, those people in those positions can be deadly. Like they can ruin people's lives, and I follow a bunch of TikTok accounts where they basically just read people's terrible text conversations with their bosses.
Oh boy.
And how shitty they are to them, like calling them in off vacation and stuff like that. Like it's like all the craziest stuff in the world that it would blow your mind. But these people are actual bosses, and they're getting paid, and their bosses think they're doing a good job, but they're treating their subordinates like absolute piss, and it's just unfortunate. Like, and that's the stuff I would hope would change, and that either the team wouldn't put up with it, like they would not perform or whatever, or there'd be enough strong personalities in the room that they could call out this manager and be like, hey, this is not gonna fly. You cannot talk to people this way. You cannot perform. Like, don't care. But who knows?
And I, not across the board, but I've noticed there's a lot of pushback when somebody in those like higher positions of power gets criticism. It's almost like, I think like Gen X is better at taking criticism. We are, younger generations seem to be But man, from what I've seen, the boomers are like, nope, not taking credit.
Oh,
Like
no,
that's their
yeah. Like there's
yeah.
zero room for feedback.
Yeah, they're like,
No,
I'm not
everything's perfect.
changing. This is the way I
Everybody's
am
key.
now. Yeah. And maybe
And it goes back,
that's
like, you
part
don't
of
have to be, just be friendly. Don't be a dick. You can still, like,
yeah. Just be friendly.
I agree.
There's an account I follow. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. She is a millennial
Is it the Toodaloo?
manager. No, I don't think so. And she records her phone conversations with the various different age groups that she has to work with in her job. And so she's like, yeah, sorry, so and so, we're gonna have to send you on sensitivity training again. He's like, is that the same one I did last time? She's like, yep, the exact same one. He's like, well, that was just stupid. And she's like, mm-hmm. And then he's like, later on, it cuts to a different part of their conversation, and she's saying, the employee is saying, oh yes, a woman manager. Well, that's just so good. That's so good that there's a woman and you're in a position of a role that is managerial, blah blah blah. And she's like, yeah, again, that's that little bit of misogyny I was hinting at earlier, just that, yeah, still making those misogynistic comments. And anyways, it just like, it makes me laugh, all of her posts, because she works with people from like across the board, like everybody age group wise, and it's just so interesting to see. And maybe that's like why it's on my mind lately. I'm just like really noticing there's a big obvious difference between all the generations right now. Yeah,
It is pretty
and
crazy.
she gets to see it all.
So
are you reading comments?
Yeah, we actually have a comment on the YouTube live.
Woo! Yay!
Yeah, it's our fave boy in blue. And Emma says hello too. You remember Emma?
Oh, Emma says hello. Oh,
yeah,
yay!
Yeah.
Hey,
so that's awesome. First comment on the YouTube live.
Yes.
This fills my heart. This is yum. There's
This
no
is
yuck
yum.
over here. This is just you're yumming on my yum.
This leads right into what I wanted to bring up, because last episode I was talking about how we should decode Gen Z, Gen Alpha slang.
Oh no, I've got some.
You've got some. Okay, is aura points one of them?
I want to come back real quick. The asked and answered.
Yeah.
It's a list of it's a type of objection that an attorney would use in court. So when the same attorney continues to ask the same question and they've already received an answer, usually after direct examination, but not always. I feel like it's objection, badgering the witness, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Or badgering.
So it does apply to the same sort of scenario, just like in a legal setting, as opposed to
100%,
a kid asking. Like okay.
Yeah, and it's so that I don't know. They're probably trying to get someone to trip up. So, what is the word I'm looking for?
Not sure.
You asked if there's a specific word. Ohio.
Oh, Skibbity Ohio Riz. Yeah.
So Skibbity
is it or originated from Skibbity toilet? Pretty sure.
So Skibbity originally comes from a trending Arabic song. However, it started gaining more recognition from the viral Skibbity toilet. Mm-hmm. YouTube shorts, blah 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 blah.
Oh, is it that Skibbity bop 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 beep beep? What
is that? Weird. Although it has no set meaning and can be used interchangeably, the Skibbity toilet plot portrays it as something evil, giving the word a negative connotation.
Yeah. Okay. So I've had this broken down by Mr. Lindsay. Look him up on TikTok if you want to know more. So he broke down like the meaning of each of the words, because like Riz is good because it's short for charisma.
Yeah.
And so he's like, when you say something's Skibbity Ohio Riz, it's actually, you're talking about it being like not
good game.
Yeah, and like not what's the word? Oh god. Like not trustworthy perhaps, like not it's not positive.
Yeah.
The sentence as a whole is not referencing something positive. It's referencing something that's like a bit sketchy perhaps.
Is Riz in that sense? Oh yeah, okay. So Riz is used to talk about someone's pickup game.
Yeah, so, like that's Riz independently, but in the context of this sentence, it takes on a different meaning. Which is why it's so confusing to people like us who are old.
Yeah. So Ohio is for all things weird and cringy.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So it's like a high level of Skibbity Ohio.
Yeah. So finally, Riz is a term largely used by Gen Z and Gen Alpha and is a shortened version of the word charisma. It describes the ability to charm someone. Putting the puzzle pieces together, Skibbity Ohio Riz is an insult to someone weird who lacks the ability to flirt.
There you go. The long and the short. Brain rot's a big one that I've heard. Yeah.
So Skibbity means bad. Sigma means good or cool.
Sigma is like, yeah. Sigma's the best.
Review from last week. Do you remember Phantom Tax?
I do, and I think you sent me the video of that kid who was doing like a YouTube quiz.
Yeah, the kid just he was nailing them all.
He was like, "Oh, I know this exactly," and he said it, and it sounds absolutely insane what he says as an answer, and it's correct. And you're just like,
"Oh man,
what?" It's wild. Yeah.
So
the one I like is aura points because it's like very I think positive more or less, but it's like I think it's to describe, like you would say max aura points if it's like a really
like
nice
the
respectful
translation for us would be vibes.
Yes, yeah. So like good vibes, really good vibes, highest vibes, and then like on the other side,
negative aura here means not cool.
Not that would be
and mewing is looking good.
Mewing is looking good, but there's a specific there's that.
You got to do something with your mouth.
Yeah, there's like a whole facial expression
like you
attached
put your
to
tongue
mewing.
I don't know. Although I've seen some incredible
Is that like duck
TikToks.
face?
So do you remember do you remember any of the TikToks I sent? They put the filter on where everyone gets that strong jaw and like the gas eyes or the
Yep. That's mewing
kind of thing. And I think I made my jaw look weaker by doing that, but there's some really great TikToks out there with this filter put on, like scenes from Harry Potter, and it just makes everyone look like that person and like they're mewing, and the songs that go like the soundtrack or the sound used with the video is really, really funny to go along with it. But that's my exposure. That just right now completed that circle. I had no idea what I was watching. I just knew it was funny.
Right.
And then I've heard the word mewing before, but I had no fucking idea. I thought it was something like,
what that even meant. Yeah.
Like submissive, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like it just sounds like a weird fucking word.
Sounds aggressive a little bit.
Yeah.
In a weird way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. But yeah. These kids have the weirdest fucking words. I don't know. I feel like our words all came from real words. Yeah.
They were derivatives of real words. And in a way these are too. They're just like using
Phantom tax?
No. Well, phantom tax would be like the proper, right? And it's like
that's a huge assumption.
An invisible tax that we just made up. Riz, short for charisma.
I love that one too because there's so many different ways people could talk about their own Riz. Like I got a PhD in applied Rizics. My favorite
the Rizzler.
movie is The Wizard of Oz. Like, there's just so
it's
many
endless.
of them.
yeah, truly. Gosh, there was another one that I didn't write down. I'll bring it to class next week with me as my homework. I'll go find this other word that I was exposed to. But yeah, you hear them all. These middle school kids.
The only other one I see here is beta. which means weak, and mad lit, which we
Mad.
would say is like really good,
Okay.
really hot, really awesome. But here it just means stylish.
How do you spell?
And I don't
Sorry,
know,
can you
this-
spell that? I feel dumb.
Mad
Yeah.
lit.
Lit.
It's
Oh,
two
okay.
words.
I
Yeah,
heard
yeah.
something. Okay, mad lit. Makes sense.
50 Gen Alpha slangs. Oh my god.
Oh,
That's too
50.
many.
Damn. They're getting so creative. It'll be interesting to see which ones like stick around, you know? Because every generation
Bet.
has come up with like their own language more or less.
This
But then
seems
it's
weird.
what sticks around. What doesn't.
They're calling this one Gen Alpha slang, but I see bet, bussin', cap, chuggy,
Oh,
clout,
so
cringe.
they've recycled a lot of existing terminology, but given it new
Oh.
meaning.
Fucking losers. Come up with your own shit.
But apparently cap and sus are now considered vintage. Were we talking about that last time?
Ick.
The
I
ick,
don't
yeah.
know.
Gives
Sus
me
can't
the
be vintage.
ick. Yeah.
Low
Sus-
vibrational.
I guess that has something to do with aura. Uh-huh. And like a lot of the terminology
Sheesh.
is sheesh, yeah. And what's up, brother? I hear that one all the time.
So that's from
Is it a meme or a TikTok or
no, it's a dude. It's a dude. His name is I can't remember his name, but
Okay.
he is this guy. He wanted to play football in school and stuff like that, but he got injured and he started playing football on video games, and he just became a streamer. What the fuck is his name?
Okay. I don't know.
Oh man,
I could probably look
but
it up.
He's
What's
like,
up, brother guy?
what's up, brother? It's always like something to do with this game. So everyone.
I'm not going to say his
would
name properly.
repeat it.
Keiron? Oh, no, that's a song. What's up, brother? Meme? Original? Explore the world
Sketch
of
is his name,
Sketch and
yeah.
Jinxie. Okay. The Beavis and Butthead
So
of what?
I'm pretty sure if anyone watches Sketch, that is his character. I don't think that's the way the actual guy behaves.
Oh,
I
okay.
think he's kind of like
He's playing
come
a
into this persona for while he's
Yeah.
online, kind of thing.
Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. So yeah, what's up, brother? It's all like his in-game things that he says and does a lot. You know, his mannerisms, and it just shot someone somewhere started it, and people just kept going, "What's up, brother? Special teams, special players." All kinds of random shit like that.
I heard them saying on the bus this week, Big Mac, Big Mac. I don't know if that's going to become a thing, but...
William was saying Big Mac all day today. He's got this giant
okay. It's a thing.
cheeseburger,
It's a
like
thing.
cheeseburger zipper thing to put all his fucking
toys and
stuffies in and stuff,
Yeah.
and he kept calling it Big Mac.
It's a song. Oh no. Look at us. We're spending too much time. Maybe not. TikTok, Big Mac song. Huh. Anyways, I'll let you know if it sticks around or not. To be continued.
I was just trying to see if I can change your
But yeah, a lot of them are viral TikTok things, more or less. You cut me off.
Yeah, I'm trying to put you to 1080p because you're on 720 right now, and you're coming in
might
fuzzy.
be. Oh, sorry. It might be my interweb connections.
That's fine. The one we'll post
Yeah.
will be okay too. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because the one we'll post will have like your camera's quality, not the displayed one here on.
I see.
Sorry.
I was wondering. Anyway, this is maybe not a question for the pod, but I wondered. While we're recording, sometimes the quality of my video is not great, and I'm like, but it has a built-in camera that's real good, so how come? And it always seems to work out when we publish the video later. Like,
so
I'm not
what
super
you're
fussy, but
seeing is what like the camera's showing you, but I don't
yeah,
understand it. It's recording at the proper. Like it tells you
Rate?
it tells you in
Right.
Riverside. It says, you know, like
Mhm.
recording will be blurrier, but final whatever is gonna look. Final product's gonna look.
It'll be real crisp by
Yeah.
the end of it. Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to go on too long. I feel like this is a good spot to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna put this out here. We got 3 viewers on our
Yes.
live today.
Hi,
And-
3 friends.
And I think I got called out for a boogie in my nose, but I don't think that's
Ew.
accurate. I think he's full of shit. But I want to say thank you very much for joining us on the YouTube live.
Yes, we
Very
hope to do this
appreciated.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
8 total views, 3 concurrent
Yes.
viewers, average view duration 2 minutes 34 seconds.
Dude,
This is all
love it.
positive. This is all good stuff, and I'm really grateful. Thank you guys so much.
I'll take it all. Yep. Cool. Thank
Until
you.
next time.
Till next time. Toodles.